There's no better place to fall into fall than right here in Oldtown, Portsmouth, with an Oktoberfest celebration, the Oldtown Ghost Walk, and weeks of special events commemorating the 200th anniversary of one historical event. I'll tell you more about it right here and right now on this episode of Portsmouth Now. Welcome to this 2024 episode of Portsmouth Now. I'm your host, Rob Lauer. This September, you do not need to fly to Germany to celebrate Oktoberfest. You can come celebrate it in authentic German style right here in Oldtown, Portsmouth, thanks to one of the region's only German restaurants, the Beer Garden. Here's Stephanie Osvogt to tell us all about it. Stephanie, welcome back to Portsmouth Now.
Thank you.
So you're here to tell us about Oktoberfest 2024.
Yeah, I'm excited. September 28th this year.
Okay, that's a Saturday?
It is a Saturday.
Okay, now people, there's a lot of confusion. People think that Oktoberfest is like sometime in October, but actually it begins in
September. It does. It always begins at least the first week in September and into October. I believe that it ends on the first Sunday in October. So whenever that falls, that's how it kind of goes. So.
Okay, where did this whole tradition start?
Well, Crazy King Ludwig, way back in the day, when he got married, he was a bit nutty. He decided to have a 2-week party for his wedding, and he wanted everyone to join in, and so he just closed everything down, and they partied for 2 weeks straight, and it was...
Germany, the whole...
You know, I would have to look up and see if it was all of Germany, but definitely Bavaria.
Okay.
And it just caught on, and you know, they've just been doing it ever since, so it's kind of like their anniversary.
Wow, and you've been doing it, the Beer Garden sponsors this?
Yes, yeah, the Beer Garden has done this. We were talking earlier, I'm not sure how many consecutive years we've done it. I know it's 20 plus. We didn't have one the first year to speak of, and then we missed 2020. So, you know, we've been there now almost 28 years,
Yep.
So at least 20 Oktoberfest so far.
Okay, so people come out to this Oktoberfest celebration. What's there to do, see, enjoy?
Well, we will have the original Elbe Musikanten again this year. If anybody has come before, they're a wonderful Papa music band out of Richmond. They're fantastic. They play the entire day. We do have now what we call Stein holders. We used to do a strongman event where you had to hold the mugs like this, and it was actual torture in front of all of your friends. Now it's easier torture. You just have to hold one mug, but it is nationally registered. If you go to the Stein holder website and check it out, we are registered on that.
I didn't even know that that was a thing.
It is, you would be surprised at the competition that comes out and how ruthless people become. After 2020, when we did our first one in 21, the police officers asked me not to do it because everyone was so uptight and nervous already. They were afraid that people would fight. Like it has gotten crazy. So I'm kind of looking forward to it.
They don't fight, but they don't fight. They're just very dedicated
they get very competitive.
Sport, would you call it?
I mean, you know, when you call it strongman, you can't be the last man to go down. You know, I think it's a pride thing.
Right.
So no guy wants to be the last guy that has to drop his
So you
mug.
have the one time strongman competition.
Yes, yeah. We usually try to do things for the kids. I'm still working on a bounce house, something like that. We will probably do raffles and things of that nature. We've had issues with our PA system in the past where it's hard to do that with such a large group of people, so we are working on that. But it's really, you know, it's bring your chair, come and sit, have a great time. We'll have tents. The beer will be flowing, of course. We do ceremonial keg tappings. We'll have somebody come up and talk about Oktoberfest, discuss those things. I mean, it's really just a great day to come out with your family. We do a great donation system where we do a lot for the Portsmouth Humane Society. But I also try to get in volunteers by saying, if you come in and you give me 3 hours of volunteer work, I will donate to your cause.
Okay.
So that does help me bring in a lot of helpers that way. But the Humane Society has really been a big help for us. So I'm looking forward to helping them. Again, they bring out pups for adoption too sometimes.
That's great. And of course, I guess there's great food there too.
Absolutely, it's beer garden food.
Yeah, so Beer Garden, as far as I know, is like really the only brick and mortar, totally authentic German restaurant in this region.
Yeah, and you know, it hadn't occurred to me, but there used to be a few You know, the Das Wald Cafe as a kid, that's where we went to get German food, and they've been gone for a while. And the German pantry, of course, that was part of our family, and they, you know, they're not open anymore. I don't think there is. I know there's a few food trucks, and that's wonderful. But yeah, I think that we really are the last remaining German brick and mortar restaurant.
And the decor looks Bavarian, Germanesque.
It definitely does. We spent the day yesterday power washing everything and getting everything kind of spruced up. And these old buildings, you know, they take their toll. But you know, walking around and looking, it really does still have that European vibe.
You literally have a beer garden out front as you walk into it. There's the lights and the tables and the outdoor seating and all that.
We sure do. The majority of our seating actually is outdoor. And the covered patios and the umbrella, you know, patio tables and things like that. And in the winter, we close those in and we heat them for the most part so that we don't lose all that seating.
Okay, so if people were interested in this, is there a website they would go to? Do you have to get tickets ahead of time?
Yeah, you can. You can go to beergarden.com, and it's BIER garden. And there is a tab on there that will take you to the Oktoberfest. We are on Eventbrite, and that's where I've been trying to put most of the information. So you can buy the tickets there, and you can get the FAQs there, and you can message us, and we're also on Facebook. You can call the restaurant. I think that it would probably be best to go to the website, though.
Okay, and the date for that again is?
September 28th.
And the times?
We start at 12 and it goes till 9 o'clock.
All right. And of course, any time of the year, if you just want German food, come to Oldtown and visit the beer garden.
Come to the beer garden.
Thanks for joining us, Stephanie.
Well, thanks for having me.
200 years ago, the Marquis de Lafayette, the French hero of the American Revolution, returned to America for a grand tour of the United States. And in October of 1824, he visited Portsmouth, where the entire population came out to greet him. This October, there will be a series of events commemorating his visit. Here's James Fayette and friends to tell us about Lafayette 2024 Return to Portsmouth. Mr. James Fayette, welcome back to Portsmouth Now.
Thank you so very much.
And I see that you brought someone with you. Could you introduce us?
Yes, I happen to have brought back one of my very best friend's daughters. This is Virginie de Lafayette, the daughter of the Marquis de Lafayette.
Well,
yes.
Welcome to Portsmouth Now.
Thank you so much. My name is Virginie de Lafayette. It's nice to meet you.
Good to meet you too. Now, we're having a lot of celebrations throughout the month of October because we are celebrating Lafayette 2024 Return to Portsmouth. Can you tell us a little bit about this?
Exactly. Well, Lafayette was last here in 1824. So we are celebrating the return of Lafayette as he comes back. It's going to be he's going to be coming in by boat. He's going to be coming in the North Landing by boat. He's going to be greeted. He's going to be with Virginie. He's going to be greeted by the mayor of our fair city. My wife, Sylvia, will be there also. And there are going to be lots of children that are going to be there to greet him. It's going to be a wonderful, spectacular event.
So what day does he arrive? When?
The 25th of October. He will be coming, yes, of 2024, the year of our Lord and Savior.
All right. And he was last year in 1824.
1824 when he did a tour of all 24 states. So he will be returning a little bit older, but a little bit wiser also.
About 50 years older.
Yes. The Marquis de Lafayette was actually 19 years old when he became a general.
Which is amazing when you think about it.
But he had unbelievable strategy. He was a man ahead of his own time.
Yeah, and we basically won the Revolutionary War because of the help from the French, led by Lafayette.
As a matter of fact, the last definitive battle in the American Revolutionary War was the Battle of Yorktown.
Right.
Had we lost that, we would have lost the war.
And he played a part in that, as did you, my understanding is.
Yes. I was one of the very first double agents and spy in the American Revolutionary War. I was where your place in Portsmouth is, where the coffee shop is. Mm-hmm. That was the headquarters of Benedict Arnold.
Oh, really?
But back then it was known as Mr. Robertson's house.
Oh, right.
So that was the headquarters of Benedict Arnold. And Benedict Arnold ended up leaving the region. There were plans, believe it or not, to kidnap Benedict Arnold. But he ended up leaving the region, and we knew there was a bigger fish to fry. And so that big fish came in the form of Lord Cornwallis, General Cornwallis.
Right.
So the same tactic he saw in me, the same thing that Benedict Arnold saw in me. And because they weren't very good friends, I couldn't account on my friendship with Benedict Arnold to roll over to General Cornwallis. So he saw those same qualities in me. He wanted me to be a spy for him also. So now I'm a double agent and a double spy.
Well, we're glad you were. That sort of helped turn the war.
Oh, yes, yes.
Now, did you come with your father the first time back in 1824?
Unfortunately, no. I did not have the opportunity to do that. I was at home in France with my children and my husband. But I'm very excited that I get to come and see him again this time. It's been a long time since I have
200
seen
years
him.
now.
Yes. So I'm looking forward to it very much.
Well, welcome to the show, and we look forward. I know we have there are not just that one event, but there are events throughout October, and so we're going to continue. We're going to interview other people who would tell us about Lafayette 2024 Return to Portsmouth.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
I'm joined next by Karen Washburn and Keith Abernathy from Friends of the Shipyard Museum to tell us about more Lafayette 2024 events. Karen, Keith, welcome to Portsmouth Now.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Karen, could you give us a brief overview of Lafayette 2024 Return to Portsmouth?
Well, Lafayette returns to Portsmouth after a 200-year hiatus in heaven, we believe. On October 25th, 2024 was the day he was in Portsmouth. And American Friends of Lafayette is actually doing a nationwide event whereby you can only have a celebration on the day he was in your city, if he even visited your city. And so Portsmouth is very fortunate that he did visit us. But this is more than just October 25th. We have a whole month of events that include a lot of educational events for children. We're going to be in the community centers and the libraries and in the schools. We have $35,000 worth of grant money that part of it covers James Lafayette visiting every school in Portsmouth Public School System to talk to their fifth graders. And then we have a huge event coming up at the library, which I know you're going to talk about later. And then let me talk about the 25th.
Okay.
The 25th, Lafayette and Virginie, his daughter, arrive at 2 o'clock at North Landing by boat. And then they're going to be greeted by school children who they'll take them down to Lafayette Arch at our Marquis de Lafayette
Right, we
Park.
have a park here in Portsmouth.
And so he's going to do a special program just for them there. Then he and James Lafayette and his wife and Virginie and Mayor Glover and his wife are going to board a horse and carriage, and that's going to proceed down North Street to Emmanuel AME, where we're going to have a 20-minute program there. They're actually going to be greeted by Frederick Douglass, who is going to do the introduction for Lafayette. He's going to speak a little bit there. Then they're going to get back in the horse and carriage, go down Green Street to High Street. Their next stop is Trinity Episcopal Church, where there is a bell there that was cracked ringing in the victory at Yorktown.
Oh my gosh, how reminiscent of Philadelphia.
Yeah, so they're going to go through the graveyard and stop at some of the Revolutionary veterans' gravesites, and then the two of them are going to ring the bell together. And then they're going to get back in the carriage, proceed down High Street. They're going to stop actually to admire a plaque that's been redone by Town Bank, courtesy of Town Bank. They were good enough to pay for that, and he's going to just admire that. That actually sits where the original arch stood, which was at the corner of Crawford and High when he.
I didn't even realize that there was an original arch.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Yeah,
and
okay.
so they have an actual marker there that was put there earlier, probably about 100 years ago. And then they're going to proceed to High Street Landing, and we're going to have a big ceremony there. The Masons are going to create an arch for us that is a replica, as close as we can come anyway, to what was there previously, and the Elizabeth River Garden Club is going to decorate it because it was covered with all sorts of greenery and flowers and festoons and that kind of thing. And so we're going to have a big ceremony there, and then Lafayette and Virginie are going to get back in the boat and head to the Naval Shipyard as he did in 1824.
Okay. I think people have forgotten. I mean, we hear the name Lafayette, but we've forgotten how much Americans loved him.
Oh, everyone was.
He was as big a hero in a sense as Washington.
And you can see it in Portsmouth, oddly enough, there's ironwork in Portsmouth, and beautiful ironwork reminiscent of New Orleans. And almost all of it dates back to the period when Lafayette came, because everyone was crazy about everything French. Right. And so, yes, they were very, very excited. And then in the evening, we're having a progressive dinner. Okay. And the progressive dinner is people are going to be able to have dinner in 3 historic homes in Portsmouth. And so the first home is the Bain home, which is built on the foundation of Cornwallis's headquarters. So there's a Lafayette connection there. And so we'll have charcuterie and the beer that they're brewing for Lafayette. And then the second stop, we're going to have beef bourguignon, and that's at the Joseph Grice House, which is absolutely beautiful. And then we're going to have dessert in the garden of the Hill House, French desserts. So it's going to to be fun, and Lafayette will be in attendance.
Oh,
all
so
day long.
So
yes, all day long.
Lafayette
Will be in attendance there, and then he's going to stay, of course, for the Hill House tea the next day.
That's fantastic. Now, Keith, you are with the Friends of the Naval Shipyard Museum.
That's correct.
And you have a lecture series that you do throughout the year.
We do.
Okay. But you also have a number of lectures that are tied in with Lafayette.
Yes.
Could you tell us about those?
I could. Well, first, the Friends of the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard Museum is a nonprofit organization formed in 1962, and with the mission to support, promote, and encourage the public to be interested in the museum and to give the services, contributions, and educational programming for the museum. And so as the Friends, we sponsor an annual program each year lecturing on things that are of interest to not only Norfolk Naval Shipyard, but also the city of Portsmouth. And so we're delighted to have 2 additional speakers this year. We'll be on October the 19th and October the 26th, kind of bookending the celebration.
Right.
And so on October the 19th, we are delighted to have Dr. Ingo Heidbrink. Now, Dr. Ingo Heidbrink is the chairman of the history department at Old Dominion University. He is not only the chairman, but he's a professor of history, and he specializes in maritime history.
So he knows about the history of this area.
He does. Well, he's internationally known. He is also the president of the International Association of Maritime Historians.
Okay.
So he's going to be excellent, and he will not just be talking about Lafayette, but he'll go beyond that. His speech is entitled, his paper is entitled The Maritime Dimension of Lafayette's Return.
Okay.
And that's on October the 19th at 3 p.m. Then on October the 26th, we are so delighted to have back with us the one and only John Kortstein, the Director Emeritus of the USS Monitor Center at the Mariners Museum in Newport News. Now, John is going to be talking about what he describes as his favorite lecture, which is the Battle of the Capes. Now, without the Battle of the Capes, also known as the Battle of the Chesapeake, there would be no Battle of Yorktown.
Okay.
So this is going to be great. He's going to be talking about a little bit about the Battle of Cape Henry that took place in March of 1781, and then lead up to the Battle of the Capes in September, and then of course the Battle of Yorktown in October.
Okay. So what are the dates of those 2 lectures again?
October the 19th and October the 26th, 3 p.m. right here at the Visitor Center.
All right. And now where can people go? Is there a website or something people go for general information about
Yes,
this?
if they could go to historyalive.info, there's a big, you can see Lafayette right there. Look down below, hit on Learn More, and it'll take you right to the page. That's the quickest way to get there.
All right.
Historyalive.info.
All right. Well, thank you both so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Rob.
Thank you. Our next guest, Julie Dunn, would tell us about exhibits and events being sponsored by the Hill House Museum to commemorate Lafayette's visit. Julie, welcome back to Portsmouth Now.
Thank you, Rob, for having me.
Now,
Thank
you're
you.
here to tell us about some of the Lafayette events taking place at the historic Hill House Museum. Could you tell our audience where the Hill House is located?
Of course, of course. Some people don't know it's on North Street in the Oldtown district of Portsmouth, 221 North Street.
And this is one of the only historic home in Oldtown that has many historic homes that has actually been turned into a museum.
That's correct. If you ever wanted to look inside one of these beautiful homes, this is your chance. I consider it a time capsule. It's a beautifully, beautifully restored home that talks about the Hill family and their descendants and ancestors and the role they played in history in Portsmouth. So please come and see us.
Now, you are very involved in the Lafayette celebrations. Can you tell us a little bit about what's happening there at the museum?
Yes, absolutely. Well, as you know, the city is planning a wonderful October schedule, and it's involved hundreds of volunteer hours, and we are so lucky to be a part of that overarching city event schedule. So let's start with the museum and our decorations.
Okay.
We're going to decorate the outside and the inside of the home. Very, very tasteful, patriotic decorations. We've done some historical research looking for clues about colors and patterns and themes, and that's what we're going to use. We're going to highlight some specialty items. We're going to have some new art pieces of the period. We're going to have a rare book on display from the period. We're going to have 2 beautiful tea sets that'll be on display. One of them, the family believes, was used to entertain Lafayette, of course, and we've had that set date authenticated. And then we've had some beautiful renovation work done to those pieces by a master craftsman. So that'll be on prominent display. And then we dug around in the privy and found some pieces of a water pitcher. And the image on the water pitcher is Lafayette at Washington's tomb.
Okay.
So this was a commemorative piece that somebody chucked, but we have brought it back to life, and it will be on display with some of its partner pieces. So, and then the third element we're highlighting is something called a transparency. If you look in the historic newspapers of the period, you'll find New York, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Norfolk. They all use transparencies in their city decorations. Transparencies are fabric or painted paper panels. They might have patriotic symbols, an eagle, a shield, maybe the face of Lafayette, and often something called a motto. Welcome, dear General, our friend in adversity.
Right.
These were painted and hung in windows or in storefront businesses. And when the crowds would travel at night celebrating Lafayette, they'd put a candle behind these panels. And I'm thinking it was like a stained glass image that would illuminate.
Okay.
So we're attempting to create one of these beautiful panels inside the home for visitors to get a feel of what that might have looked like. That is the museum decor. Yes, very exciting.
Great. So what are some of the events then?
Again, wonderful things. We have a whole month planned. So we're open Wednesdays and Saturdays with special emphasis on our Saturday events. We'll have lectures. The first one will be a gentleman from the American Friends of Lafayette. He'll speak about the broader Hampton Roads area and then talk a little bit about Suffolk, his home base. The next Saturday, we're going to have the Tidewater Winds Brass Quintet. They will be in the garden and they will play pieces performed for Lafayette. The third Saturday will be myself, and I'll give a little history about more of the specific details of Lafayette in Portsmouth. And then we'll round out the month with Lafayette himself, the nationally acclaimed interpreter, Mark Schneider. And he will come and entertain us, and we'll have a great roundup event at the end of the month.
Now, if
Yes.
people wanted to find out more about those events, dates,
Absolutely.
exact times and stuff,
Yes.
is there a website they can go to?
Certainly. Well, we have a Facebook page that's easy to access, the Hill House Museum, and the same thing is for our website, thehillhousemuseum.org, and all that information is there for them. Yes.
Well, that's fantastic. It sounds like a lot of fun. It sounds like you had a lot of fun researching it.
I did, and so to wrap up our little part about the Hill House Museum, history is an amazing thing.
Yes.
The more you dig, the more you learn. And so with my friends at the Hill House Museum, we began to look into the archives at the Hill House Museum, examining family records, looking at newspapers, and we've located 5 ancestors of the Hill family that were either in the event with Lafayette or post-commemorative events. If you don't mind, I'd like to tell you one
Sure,
example.
yes, absolutely.
So here in Portsmouth on October the 25th of 1824, Lafayette arrived. He was escorted to a beautiful city arch right near where we're filming at the corner of High and Crawford. The whole town was there. It was beautifully decorated. And out of this throng of people stepped a young woman. She was 15. Her name was Nancy Collins. And she presented Lafayette with a wreath and gave him a greeting. And then she was joined by her schoolmates with a poem. Nancy Collins is the great aunt of the Hill siblings, the last residents of our museum.
Oh my gosh.
Yes,
Okay.
and so she's one of 5 other stories that we'll share with guests when they come to the Hill House about connections we found.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, thank you so much for telling us about that.
Yes,
Again, they
thank
go
you.
to, if people wanted to find out more, go to the Hill House Museum
.org.
Facebook page
Yes.
or
Museum.org.
All right.
Yes.
Thanks for coming back and
Thank
talking
you,
about Julie.
Rob. We look forward to seeing everyone at the Hill House.
Thank you. And we'll be right back to Portsmouth Now after these messages.
Hello, Portsmouth. It's a beautiful day out today. Let's talk about something that's not so beautiful, stormwater pollution.
Stormwater pollution turns our waterways dark and murky. But that's okay, I've got 3 easy tips for stormwater friendly lawn care.
First up, pet owners, remember, scoop the poop.
Poop contains harmful bacteria that can get into our waterways, so please, use one of our many pet waste stations that we have located around the city.
When mowing your lawns, be mindful of where you put your grass clippers at. They can get in front of storm drains and prevent the water flow.
When it comes to fertilizer, remember, less is more. Fertilizer can get into our storm drains, which actually feed algae blooms in our waterways. So we recommend that you go and get your soil tested before applying fertilizer. Remember, your lawn and the environment will thank you.
When washing your vehicles, try to do it over top of your lawn instead of in your driveway.
The grass acts as a natural filter and prevents any pollutants from getting into our storm drains. So remember, try to use eco-friendly products.
So there you have it, Portsmouth. Simple ways to keep our storm waters clean and our city beautiful. Remember, every little bit helps.
Scammers never take a day off, and they want your personal information. At Dominion Energy, we want you to be safe. Here are some tips to help you avoid getting scammed. Scammers may call you. In fact, they can pretend that they are Dominion Energy and falsify your caller ID to say Dominion Energy. If you get a call demanding immediate payment and threatening disconnection, hang up. Scammers may also text you. If you get a text message with a link asking for payment, do not click on it. Scammers go door to door. Scammers may show up at your door pretending to be Dominion Energy and ask for access to your home. Dominion Energy representatives do not go door to door asking for payment. If a representative from Dominion Energy comes to your home, they will have identification with Dominion Energy branding, and Dominion Energy representatives travel in white vehicles with the logo on the side. There are a couple of ways to verify if you have a payment due. Go online to dominionenergy.com, sign into your account to check to see if you have a payment due. Or just give us a call, 866-DOM-HELP, and one of our customer service representatives will let you know if you have a payment due. Then you can make your payment using our automated system. We want you to be careful, we want you to be safe, and we are here to help.
Joining us next are Lisa Edwards and Lauren White to tell us about Lafayette-themed events being sponsored by the Portsmouth Public Libraries. Laura and Alicia, welcome to Portsmouth Now.
Hi.
Now we have this big Lafayette celebration going on throughout the month of October, and I understand that the public libraries are also involved.
Yes, it's a program hosted by the History Alive organization. It's meant to celebrate the local and cultural history of Portsmouth. So basically, there will be interpreters from the organization that will be reenacting different Revolutionary War scenes, specifically Frederick Douglass, James Lafayette, and his daughter Virginie. And it takes place on October 19th. Leading up to it, there will actually be activities at each of the libraries for children. Okay. They're going to be making artwork that we're going to display, and they're really excited about it. And then on the actual day, outside of the reenactments, there will be a scavenger hunt and various activities.
Okay, would this be at the
it will be at the main branch on Court Street.
And how many branches of the libraries are there now?
There are 4 branches in the Portsmouth Public Library system.
Okay, and that's
the main branch, Churchland, Craddock, and Manor.
Okay, Manor. Okay, so are there, I know that you do events and programs throughout the year for all ages. Are there things you'd like to tell us about the libraries involved in?
So we try to reach people where they are in different stages of their life. So we actually have digital computer literacy classes on Saturdays, and that encompasses everything from Computer 101 to mastering an Excel spreadsheet. And then we also have more arts and craft type programs. So we have a canvas painting program that takes place on the first and third Saturdays as well.
Okay, and is that at the main branch?
Yes,
okay.
All at the main branch.
Fantastic. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us and telling about this. And that date again for the Lafayette event?
It is Saturday, October 19th from 10 to 2.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us and telling us all about it. With information about yet more Lafayette 2024 events, here is Catherine Tribble from the Virginia Youth Regiment and Wendy Matthias from the DAR. Wendy, Catherine, welcome to Portsmouth Now.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now you're here to tell us about even more Lafayette events, and one of them is going to be at City Park. And could you tell us a little bit about that, what it is and where it is, when it is?
Sure thing. If you've been to Portsmouth City Park, no doubt you've seen the pyramid, which is the Lafayette Monument. And that was erected in 1924 by my DAR chapter, Fort Nelson. So on October 25th, 2024, we're going to be rededicating the monument on the 200th anniversary of Lafayette's return to Portsmouth.
That's fantastic. Now, has the monument has it needed repairs or anything like that over the years?
I know it.
That's 100 years ago that it was there.
I think in 2002, it was repaired. There had been some damage. Even years before then, at one time, the plaque was stolen. So that had been replaced, but you know, it's in good shape.
Well, and
I think you could still climb on it.
I know. Well, I grew up in the 60s to Chicago into City Park, and we just thought that was a strange pyramid that we would just climb on. We had no idea why it was there.
Yeah. It's for our man Lafayette.
Well, great. So that'll be rededicated in the ceremony.
Yes.
And you know, the Virginia Youth Regiment will also be involved during that day in the park?
Yes, the Youth Virginia Regiment will be having stations for several hundred Portsmouth City students, and they're going to go around and learn about Lafayette. As you know, he was for black rights, he was for women's rights, his involvement in the Revolution. When he originally was in Portsmouth was in 1781. He was at the Battle of Scott's Creek. So we're going to reenact the reenactment of the Battle of Scott's Creek, which was done for him when he was here in 1824. So we're looking to recruit more students. We'd like to stand up an Ethiopian regiment, sort of in honor of Lafayette's emancipation views, because we need more black reenacting regiments as the 250th events are coming around. So we have a very generous grant from the Virginia 250th Committee, and we would like to dress out some youth who would like to volunteer. If they can contact us at yvrdirectors@yahoo.com, that would be great. But we can take anybody who'd be interested in representing history, because there are important things to be told.
Yeah.
So part of what we're doing at the park is, it's not just the battle, it's everything that's around the battle. It's what's going on the home front, what's going on with the people who support the Army. What is the influence of Lafayette and other foreign forces? You know, why is Lafayette so important, not just for his ideas, but what he does in the Revolution, and how do those both play into each other, and then his relationship with Washington and how he affects his views. So we'd like to get some of that across to the students. We're going to do the reenactment of the battle, and then they're going to see the parade where Lafayette arrives.
Fantastic. Now, what time is that? Will that be that day?
In the morning.
In the morning.
Yeah, it'll start with the rededication of the monument with the DAR, and then the stations will run through the morning, and we'll do the battle before the students go to the parade.
Oh, fantastic. Now again, so this event again will be on Friday of what day?
October 25th, out at City Park.
All right. Thanks so much for coming here and telling us all about it.
Thank you for having us.
Post-Secondary Brewing in Oldtown will be rolling out its own tasty tribute to Lafayette this fall. Here's Topher Slater to tell us about it. Topher, welcome to Portsmouth Now. Now, you are the owner, along with your wife Susan, of Post-Secondary Brewing in Oldtown. Could you tell us a little bit of, like, what does that mean? What does that refer to?
Well, it's kind of has two meanings. It means, like, what are you doing after school? And generally speaking, what do you do after school? I make beer. But also in the brewing process, there's a point where the sugary liquid turns into what we call beer, and that's after the secondary fermentation. So it's work beforehand, before secondary fermentation, and it's beer after secondary fermentation.
All right. Now, Post-Secondary is located on High Street?
Yes.
Okay. And I understand that in connection with the whole Lafayette celebration, you were doing something special. Can you tell us about that?
We're going to be making a special beer. It's more of a sophisticated beer. It's going to be a white beer, which is a white, light, sparkling beer. It's going to have notes of coriander and orange and some apricot in it to kind of give it a little bit of flair.
Okay, and have you named it?
Yes, called Heart of Lafayette.
Oh, right. Yeah. And you'll be rolling that out in October?
Yes, it'll be shortly after the Seawall event.
Okay, fantastic. Now, can you tell us like what your hours are at Post-Secondary? Do you have any events there or any things like?
We're open from Wednesday till Sunday. Our hours vary depending on which day of the week it is. But we have trivia like once a month on Thursdays. This week we're going to have Are You Smarter Than the Fifth Grader? But we have different types of stuff going on. We have live music pretty regularly, and we have other events like painting and things like that with some other of our neighbor businesses in the area.
Okay, if people wanted to find out more information about the brewery, is there a website they could go to?
postsecondarybrewing.com.
All right. Well, thanks so much for joining us here, and thank you for Heart of Lafayette.
Absolutely.
Our next guests are Tony Goodwin and Thelonious Cook to tell us about a place you'll want to visit the next time you come to Oldtown, Portsmouth. Thelonious, Tony, welcome to Portsmouth Now.
Hey, thank you for having me.
So Tony, when people are in Old Town, either for some of the events or they're down here and they just need to duck to a store and buy a snack or just something, they need to buy something, where can they go?
Market Street and General Store, right at 304 High Street, here on right between Roger Brown's and the coffee shop. Very convenient from the Children's Museum and the rest of the Old Town community.
Okay, what types of things are for sale there?
Well, you know, we built an old-fashioned general store right here on High Street in the old W.T. Grant's department store building. It was something my family and I had sat down and talked about. My daughter's just now a senior in high school over at Churchland. And I said, we've got something for you to do. So we've come along and made it a family business where we have hardware, housewares, some seasonal items and apparel from Simply Southern. But more importantly, we knew we were going to have to be opening up a market to serve the needs of this community here in Old Town.
Okay, so food, that sort of thing?
Yes, yes. Okay. You can actually get everything from your small, you got a small grocery store inside the store now, snacks, drinks, and of course even those old penny candies that we all fell in love with when we grew up in big barrels right there along the, right there at the cash register. So this is actually a very nostalgic store. And people feel like, you know, they can buy a Coke in an old glass bottle right out of a machine from 1958.
You have a big old red Coke machine, don't you?
Yes, right there at the front door. So everybody comes up and says, wow, it's actually working and it works, and that's what we can buy those right there.
Okay, you know, before we started rolling, we were talking about artisan breads and things maybe being available?
Well, our goal was to make sure we could open up our market to some of the vendors from the Old Town Farmers Market, which has been going on for years. And so we're going to actually be working with Lisa's Bake Shop, who actually produces breads and are available still at Saturday farmers markets. But we're going to have them available for you during the week as well. And now that we've added some of the produce and fresh produce coming directly from the farm, we feel like we're going to fill a niche that has been lost since, of course, one of our national competitors have left. And quite frankly, we're filling the needs of what we consider a food desert.
Okay, and now speaking of produce, this brings us to you. What organization are you with, Thelonious?
Yeah, I'm with the Mid-Atlantic Black Farmers Caucus.
Okay, and now are we to be working together?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about the work of that organization.
Yeah, so we're a network of farmers scattered around Virginia, both established farmers as well as returning farmers. And our main goal is to bring access to healthy, nutritious, locally grown food to our communities here.
Fantastic. So you two are joining forces then.
Very much so.
Well, that's great. Now, you were mentioning also, before we started rolling, that your hours are Tuesdays through...
Now that we've got the farmers market and the market side of the store open, we're going to be open from Tuesday through Saturday, 10 until 6 on our regular hours, but we will also be opening during special events.
Such as the Ghost Walk.
The Ghost Walk coming up. It'll be open late, obviously, on the 25th of October, and we have a small stage right inside the front door where we'll be able to invite local musicians to come in and play either spooky music for the Halloween season there, but more importantly, it's a gathering place. And of course, if everybody knows how an old general store used to be, it was a place where people gathered. The community came out together. Was able to get their items that they need for their essentials, but more importantly, it was a gathering spot.
Fantastic. Well, good luck with it, and thanks for coming on and telling us about things. Good luck with your organization. Continued success with that. And be sure to come to Old Town and visit the Market Street and
General Store.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you.
All right. One of Portsmouth's premier annual events is the Old Town Ghost Walk. Let's welcome Martin Bayer back to Portsmouth Now to tell us what's in store this year. Martin, welcome back to Portsmouth Now.
Thank you so much.
Now you're here to tell us about the 2024 Oldtown Ghost Walk.
That is correct, yeah. We will be having our 42nd annual Ghost Walk this year. It's going to be October 25th, and it's going to be another fantastic, exciting event. We're really looking forward to it.
Okay, for those who don't know what the Ghost Walk is, tell us.
So every year, the Oldtown Portsmouth Civic League hosts a Ghost Walk where people come and they will be led on a guided tour of the Oldtown neighborhood, where they'll get to hear some ghost stories that are associated with a number of the older homes in the neighborhood. Many of the stories are actually from people who used to live in the houses, not all of them, but most of them. So there's some history there too. So this is an event that we've been hosting for a number of years, gives people a good flavor of Old Town and some history.
It's really popular too.
Yeah, it's very popular. So every year we bring in a couple thousand people to take the tour. It requires hundreds of volunteers from the league and different volunteer groups. So it's a big project and it's a lot of fun.
Now in the last 3, 4, 5 years, you've added like a whole Halloween sort of street festival to it as well, High Street.
We have. It's been about 4 years now we've been doing the Ghost Walk Market, and every year it gets bigger and more exciting, more actors and entertainers there, more vendors. So we're going to be having a number of new vendors this year as well, some different food options and things like that. But yeah, so pretty much 2 to 3 blocks on Court Street, right by Trinity Episcopal Church, is blocked off to be the Ghost Walk Market. It's a lot of fun. There's there are fire dancer in previous years. I don't know that we've secured her yet. We're going to hope to. All sorts of other stilt walkers and other actors. The Youth Virginia Regiment was there last year. And we're hoping to have them back again. They were great fun. They got all painted up as ghosts. It's nice.
And the tour usually begins at Trinity?
The tour does begin at Trinity. So we have tours leaving approximately every 7 minutes, and starting at 5:30, going up until 9:30 when the last tour leaves. The tour will leave from the courtyard of Trinity, so you'll go through the graveyard there, then you'll cross the street to the old courthouse steps. There's another story that's presented there, and then you'll proceed northward and you'll split on London Street to either go the east route or the west route, where you'll hear another 8 or 9 more stories.
Again, this is a ticketed event, right?
It is, yeah. So you can find tickets just by Googling otpcl.org. That'll bring you to the Civic League's main website, and then you can find the Ghost Walk subpage there. You can find us on Facebook. You'll find us, posters will be posted throughout the neighborhood that will have a QR code where you can link to the website to buy a ticket. And we'll also be at the farmers market throughout most of October.
Okay, I guess if you just Google Portsmouth Ghost Walk.
Correct. If you just Google Old Town Portsmouth Ghost Walk, you're going to find it. So,
all right. It sounds like a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. I've gone a number of times. It's really unique. There's nothing around here like it.
Yeah.
And congratulations on how many years?
So this is the 42nd annual iteration of it. This will be my 2nd year running it. And it's such a fantastic community building event. Yeah. Recognizing how the greatest product of it is actually the community building.
Yes.
It's a fun night, but it also affords us opportunities to build relationships within our own community and with other civic leagues in Portsmouth.
I'm sure people from other cities who probably never come to Portsmouth or
so we've certainly
come here and they see what Old Town is. And
this is certainly true. Yeah. We definitely get a lot of people coming from outside of Portsmouth and even as far as DC. People who don't normally come to Portsmouth, but also just kind of connecting us with the Hampton Roads, with our sister cities, which is really a great opportunity.
Well, congratulations on it. I hope it goes well. And thanks so much for taking time from your busy schedule to come here and tell us about it.
We appreciate it. So,
thanks.
All right.
That's it for our show today. If you'd like to find out more about any of the events featured on today's show or any other events taking place in Portsmouth, simply visit www.portsvacation.com. And then come to Portsmouth, where if you give us a day, we'll give you a vacation. I'm Rob Lauer. Join me in November for another episode of Portsmouth Now.